You've accepted the fact that that Biden is the president-elect of the United States, that he won the election, right?
I think I was the first Republican to do so. I mean, there's no question about that. And, I congratulated him the first night that the race was called. And, I think, more and more Republicans are finally getting to that point. And it's hopefully something that will get resolved here, very shortly.
Did the other four, I'll ask you, did the other four Republican governors in the meeting basically accept the fact and refer to him as president-elect?
Well, I don't want to give the details of the conversation. I don't remember exactly if everyone did, but I think most of them did acknowledge, we're talking about the issues. Obviously, they got on the call with the president-elect and the vice president-elect for a reason. Everybody was very cordial, and I think recognizes the fact that Joe Biden, and Kamala Harris will be, inaugurated on January 20th.
I think so. You're absolutely right. But based on what you heard from President-elect Biden, Governor, do you expect a significant shift in the federal response to the coronavirus, which is getting worse and worse, once he takes office on January 20th?
He didn't share a lot of his thoughts about it yet. I mean, it was more of a fact-finding mission on their part to try to get up to speed. I thought it was a good first step, where we kind of let him know some of our priorities. Look, I brought up a couple of things. So, number one, we want to make sure that they continue some of the things that are working and that we get some of the other things moving. The vaccine development. Operation Warp Speed is a good thing. We're making progress. It's critically important to getting our states back to normal. I brought up Title 32 funding because some of us are going to, once again, many states are going to be calling up the National Guard to help with vaccine distribution and transport and things like that. And Title 32 allows the federal government to pay for that. And we talked about, just a real need to get bipartisan cooperation and a compromise in Congress on the much-needed next stimulus bill, and we've called on the incoming team to work with both Democrats and Republicans in the House and the Senate to try to get this done. Although I don't think we can wait until the end of January. I think this is something that the lame duck Congress needs to act on right now.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. This is critical. There are people suffering right now by the millions out there. They're waiting along food lines. And I think he heard what you were saying. I took notes as he was speaking after your meeting with the president-elect. He said he wants to get new funding for state and local budgets, federal government relief. He wants a stimulus package. He wants new work on making sure that not only vaccines, but the vaccinations begin all around the country in various states. He did support new money for the National Guard troops that you're going to need to help with the distribution of those vaccines.
Right.
National mask mandate he wants, right. And he wants a lot more testing. That's what you guys proposed, and that's what he emerged from the meeting saying, so I assume you were pleased.
Well, that's great. I didn't actually hear his remarks because I went from that meeting into another, immediately into another series of meetings, so I'm very glad to hear. He seemed to be very receptive to the message. Those were all the points that we tried to make, and I think we're off to a good start.
All this is taking place, Governor, under the shadow, very disturbing shadow of President Trump's threats to try to subvert the election with totally baseless accusations of widespread fraud in various states that he lost, his outrageous scheme to pressure state officials to overturn the will of the voters. Is there any way to describe this other than, and this is so painful to even say, an assault on our democracy?
Well, I said something very similar, Wolf. My biggest concern right now is that we don't drop the ball on. We're in the middle of a war right now against this virus, and we've got to get the current White House coronavirus team talking with the Biden team. We've got to get on with the transition because we can't afford to be, delaying while, we did have a good meeting with Vice President Pence and the coronavirus team earlier this week, which was very productive. I just want to see them all working. But yeah, it is outrageous, Wolf, and it is an assault on our democracy. And look, I think everybody wants every single vote to be counted fairly, but we haven't seen any evidence of widespread voter fraud. And the numbers are the numbers, and several of these are Republican-led states. And he's, look, I think it's bad for Donald Trump it's bad for the Republican Party, and it's bad for the country and our standing in the world. And this is the way our country works. We cast the votes, we count the votes, and we live with the results. And we've always had a peaceful transition of power. And I just think it's really sad what's going on right now.
And how do you explain that some other Republicans are actually going along with this because it is so outrageous?
Well, I can't really explain it other than they're just maybe afraid of the president. Some of them may believe the conspiracy theories, but some of them I think just are humoring him. But I think an awful lot of Republican governors and folks in the Senate and some of his friends and people in the White House are advising him. He just doesn't seem to be listening to anybody.